We'll start with an opening statement from Coach as the team gets ready to play Arkansas this Saturday at 11 a.m. on SEC Network. After his opening statement, we'll open it up for questions. So raise your hands with that function, and we'll get you in the queue to ask questions. So with that, Coach, go ahead.
Yeah, great week for us and our team. An opportunity to play in a rivalry game against a quality opponent, Arkansas. Obviously, there's the Battle Line Trophy involved, and that always makes for a good week in a fun atmosphere and exciting. It's also going to be senior week for us and senior day, honoring our seniors and getting them the opportunity to it's going to be different this year because we're not allowed to have families on the field, but make sure that they understand their importance and significance to this program and what they've done to help raise the level of Mizzou football over their time here. And then we have a special thing. We're going to be honoring raising awareness for spinal cord awareness this week. I'll be wearing a green ribbon on my shirt. There was a young man named Brandon Main who contracted transverse myelitis. I believe he was from St. Louis. He actually graduated with a degree in biology from the University of Arkansas, and his families are proud supporters of Mizzou. And so this game holds a special significance for them, and we definitely want to honor Brandon's memory this week and bring awareness to spinal cord injuries and their seriousness. And so, Arkansas, obviously the job Sam Pittman's done this year to get 3 SEC wins already. He's been in every single game. Those guys are playing extremely well. Offensively, Coach Briles has done an excellent job. Their grad transfer quarterback, Felipe Franks, is playing as well as any quarterback in the league, maybe except for the young man at Florida and the young man at Alabama. But it's done a you can tell his confidence and leadership is exuding on that field. The wide receivers are really good. The young man Woods provides a really deep threat, got great speed. Treylon Burks, he can do just about anything he wants to at the wide receiver position. He runs great routes. He's very technical. They find great ways to keep him open. They do a really good job with their motions and tempos, and so a very difficult task to prepare for our defense. On defense, their defensive coordinator, Coach Odom's done an outstanding job. I think they lead the country in interceptions, forcing a bunch of turnovers. They're led by a senior, Grant Morgan, at the linebacker position, who's a Butkus semifinalist that leads the nation in tackles. That player is an outstanding player. Interestingly enough, he played for Coach Jones at Greenwood, Arkansas. And so we know a lot. There's all kinds of different storylines in this game, but the reality of it is this is a player's game, and we're excited for our team to get to compete against their team. And as coaches, we have to do a great job this week preparing for both for difficult schemes. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
First one's going to come from Gabe DeArmond from Power Mizzou. Gabe.
Eli, with Barry Odom and Ryan Walters being so familiar, obviously, with each other, can you lean on Ryan at all this week as far as going against Barry's defense? And then also, do you guys have to change anything terminology-wise or the way you signal things in, because Barry was obviously just here last year?
Yeah. We have to take all precautions necessary to make sure that we don't have our signals or we're not compromised with anything we're doing on the defensive side of the ball, which we've had to do throughout the season. I think that's a bigger part of the game than most people realize this day and age, the gamesmanship of trying to get the other team's signals. So we would definitely be prepared for that. When you watch Coach Odom's defense at Arkansas, they don't do a lot similar to us. They're really kind of their own identity. He's created his own identity and own defense. Reminds me more of what he did at Memphis than maybe what we're doing now here. I think there are some of the same defensive calls, but for the most part, I believe it's a different style of defense. I do think that there's some things that obviously the defensive staff has been able to give us as far as a scouting report, maybe the type of defensive coordinator or play caller that he is, or what's his go-to. Is he a pressure guy in the red area? Is he a zone guy on third downs? Is he more attacking or aggressive, laid back? What are some things that he gave them problems? No different than I'm sure Coach Odom is telling the Arkansas offensive staff.
Next one comes from Dave Matter from the St. Louis Post. Dave.
Eli, after looking over the Vandy game, just how much of a difference did it make having all those guys back on the defensive line, and Kobe Whiteside especially? What does he mean to that group when he's able to be on the field?
I think Kobe played his best game of the season. and it was great for him. He caused, I know he had a couple of TFLs and was really disruptive and able to create penetration and slip blocks and create take up space when they tried to double team. So it's great to have him back. Obviously, it provides us with more depth. The more depth you have, the quality depth you have, the fresher you can be when you play. Obviously, that was the deepest our defensive line's been all year, and so we were able to play fresh and stay fresh and really dominate the trenches up front, which for us is the recipe for success. When we've played well in the trenches, we've had a chance to win every game. It'll be no different this week. We got to play well up front. It was great to have those guys back on the offensive side of the ball as well. Obviously, Xavier Delgado. And I thought even when Xavier got beat up, I thought Luke Griffin just showed a lot of grit and toughness, and he actually played really well when he got in the game. And Larry Borum was a big-time right tackle for us in that game. Obviously, he does a really nice job of creating space and dominating blocks.
Next one comes from Eric Blum from the Columbia Daily Tribune. Eric.
Hey, Eli, obviously you grew up in a small town not too far from Fayetteville. I'm just curious some of your memories of watching Arkansas football growing up and living there as well.
I think probably my biggest memory of Arkansas football was it was either 93 or 94 when Barry Lundy Jr. went down to Alabama and threw a rollout pass to J.J. Metters to win the game. I remember, some of the 98, I think it was 97, 98 seasons with Houston Nutt and some of the good teams they had with Clint Sterner as a quarterback, Anthony Lucas as a wide receiver, obviously, Darren McFadden. So, yeah, I've got some really good memories of the Arkansas Razorback football team. But obviously I'm the head coach of Mizzou now and so excited about the opportunity to go against them. It's not the first time, when we were at Auburn, I had a chance to go against them twice. So it is what it is. But, I will say this. I think they were looking for the right candidate, and they did a great job hiring Sam Pittman. He's done an outstanding job. He's the perfect fit for what that program needs at the time they needed it. He's done a great job of providing pride in that program, and those guys are playing hard as anybody in the country. And you can see it. It starts with their head coach and oozes all the way through their coaching staff to their players.
Next one comes from Vahe Gregorian from the Kansas City Star. Vahe.
Hi, Coach. Just sort of related to that, I wonder what your sense of the state of this rivalry is, and it seems it perhaps would be enhanced a little bit by such things as Coach Odom being there and you coming from Arkansas. Do you have any feel for that?
I think it'd be a lot better if we were able to play with a full crowd. But at the end of the day, there's a trophy on the line. They're standing in our way from accomplishing what we want to accomplish this year, and we're standing in their way. So that's rivalry enough. There's plenty of storylines, however you want to create them. But the bottom line is this is a players' game, and on Saturday at 11 o'clock, whichever team's ready to play the most is going to win. And, both of us desperately want to win. So rivalry or not, I think we're both going to get each other's best shot. They've obviously needed a week to get healthy, so they're probably going to be peaking at the right time. We've got a little bit of momentum, so I anticipate it being a great football game.
Next one comes from Peter Ball from The Athletic. Peter?
Yeah, Eli, how much, if at all, do you address the team about, I guess, going up against Barry, who recruited a lot of them and has relationships with a lot of them?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no hiding it. We talked about it on Sunday that, there's obviously we're going against Coach Odom and a couple other coaches that used to be here. But again, this is a players' game, and when the kickoff starts, it's going to be about the men on that field and the jobs they do. And no different than any of us. We've gone against people we care about, and have feelings for. But at the end of the day, when you're playing a game, it's about the people in that locker room and the Mizzou on your chest. And what we're trying to do is our team and the seniors here. And so we're trying to win. So it'll once it kicks, all that stuff goes out the window.
Mitchell 40 from Power Mizzou. Mitch?
Eli, I know the defense has gotten progressively a bit healthier the last couple of weeks, which has certainly helped. But how have you seen Coach Walters maybe grow or evolve with this unit over the course of the season?
Well, it's been interesting. I think we've made adjustments to fit who we are and adjust based off of injuries and have to figure out, okay, we can call this, we can't call that, we got to adjust to this. We've done each week, I think we've designed a plan that takes away what they do best and then force them to try to beat us with their with their second pitch, and that's been really good. I think not only Coach Walters but the entire staff has done a really good job. And I mean, it shows. We carried over from the week before where Coach Gibbs called it and did an excellent job for South Carolina, and then for Coach Walters to come back in and pick it up and hold the team to a shutout was awesome. So I think it's a tribute to our entire staff.
Next one's going to come from Ben Arnett from KOMU. Ben.
Coach, you mentioned senior day on Saturday, and for a coach in the first year building a program, particularly with everything this program's been through the last several months, I mean, how important has the buy-in from those seniors been to helping be successful this season and create what you're trying to create?
Yeah, I mean, I think they deserve all the credit. It has very little to do with me and more to do with them and what they've been able to create as far as a consistency of performance and a consistency of work ethic and a stick-to-itiveness of not letting all the different challenges that we faced affect them. They haven't thrown their hands up in the air and said, well, we can't do it, it's too hard. They've just kept coming to work every day. And you think guys like Larry Roundtree and Josh Bledsoe and Tyree Gillespie, and you think about, Markel Utzies and these guys that have given you everything they've got for an extended period of time. And we're just really appreciative to them, and we're going to play for them.
Next one's going to come from Greg Palermo from KTVI. Greg.
Yeah, Coach, you haven't been afraid to point out areas in play calling where you wish you had done some different things, and certainly we saw Saturday with Tyler Beatty's role and how he was utilized. Can you take us inside kind of what that process is like as you go back and look at areas? Is that a collaborative effort? Is that you just looking at film? How does that work?
I think when you come up with a play, you try to figure out where you think your best guess of the ball is going to go. And then once you figure out what your best guess on where the ball is going to go, figure out, okay, is the person who's going to touch the ball the very best at that opportunity? And if not, then let's get the person who's going to touch the ball the very best at that opportunity in there. And it's a fine line. We were probably substituting a little bit too much early in the season at different positions and not allowing us to play with rhythm. But at the same time, you got to get the guys in the game who are going to give you the best ability. I mean, there's only so many touches that you can get. And you got to make sure that they are utilized to their maximum. So it's a collaborative effort. I mean, we have play designs, and Looper will speak up. Coach Loop will say, hey, is this something we want to do Tyler, or is this something we want to have Jalen Knox do? Is this something Barrett Bannister can do? I mean, we utilized a lot of different personnel groupings and just trying to play to each other's strengths.
Soichi Terada from the Star. Go ahead.
Hey, Eli, I'm just wondering, with it being senior day on Saturday, have you guys talked in terms of the eligibility thing and, maybe which players will come back next year or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations and we've talked to some people about whether or not they want to pursue their next opportunity or their next option, or whether they want to come back. There'll be some guys that choose not to walk that should give you an indication that they are coming back. There's going to be people that choose to walk that still haven't made up their mind and have got to see how the final 3 games of this season go and see what opportunities are out there. This has been a hard year in a lot of different ways, and it's been a hard year on seniors because it didn't go anything like the way they wanted it to go. And so to try to wrap your mind around that when you think you're going to be a senior and then maybe you come back, maybe you don't, there's still a lot of things that have to get decided. And so we're not forcing anybody to do or make any decisions just yet.
Dave Matter.
Eli, I know you've started a few kind of post-game traditions in your locker room, just maybe some other things that you're doing. How important is it to add those things within a team, within a culture, things that you've tried to change or just enhance?
Yeah, I think it's just about trying to enhance the traditions of Mizzou football and make it important. And it's one of those things where, I just said, what do we do after a win? And there's not a tradition here. We've been playing football for a long time. My goal would be for when these players come back in 30 and 40 years, they know when we win, we sing. And when we win, we light up, the columns. And so, hopefully those create traditions that can last a long time. And it's something that, alumni can be proud of, our former players can be proud of, and our fans can get involved in too. It would be awesome, after we win, when COVID's done, if that lawn out there just turned into a big spot where we all had a big celebration and, minus the streaker that happened 2 weeks ago, it might be a great opportunity for us to just gather and then spill over into downtown and maybe have some Shakespeare's pizza and then maybe even slide into Booch's. And, I stay away from Harpo's, but I heard that's a happening spot. So, it could be an opportunity for Columbia and the university and athletics to try to form something that's pretty neat.
Next one's going to come from Gabe the Army. Go ahead.
Yeah, Eli, I know Coach Pittman said yesterday he anticipated they would be pretty close to a full roster. Are you guys getting back close to that? And specifically, can you tell us what's going on with Daniel Parker?
I looked at my sheet the other day and they said we're going to have 61 scholarship players available, and it was like a sigh of relief. We're almost at full strength. We'll be at 61. I don't know if that's full strength or not strength, but it is what it is. I know our guys are going to fight their guts out. So I don't know what full strength looks like for them. But yeah, whatever 61 is. Daniel, we anticipate having an opportunity to be available this week, but it's going to depend on how this week goes as far as working his way back in, and we'll make a decision probably Thursday or Friday on what's the best interest of his long-term health and not short-term results. For us, it's all about what is best for our student athletes' futures, and so we're not going to risk long-term for short-term results.
Jack Sobel, go ahead.
Coach, after you had a chance to watch the tape, I was wondering what did you see on film from Connor in contrast to what you saw on film from the South Carolina game?
Well, a few more completions. I thought he did a nice job of reading coverages and putting the ball in some tight windows. And he's continued to progress, get better each week, take what the defense gives him. I think it's just a maturation process for him. Again, that's his 5th career start maybe. So, each week's a little bit new as far as, 6th career start. So each week's a little bit new. There's not a lot of recall there. So, again, I think he's just continuing to improve.
Andrew Kaufman, go ahead.
Coach, I don't think you're flying under the radar anymore, especially with some of the national coverage. It seems like a lot of positivity towards you and your team. How do you think you'll handle all that praise, especially after the Vandy game?
I haven't noticed it. Don't really care about it. Doesn't faze me because it's really never going to be about me in this program. It's always going to be about our players and the Mizzou brand and what we're trying to accomplish for the Mizzou brand. That's why it's senior week. Any accolades our team deserves is based on what our seniors have done and their ability to be resilient and lead this football team. And I haven't really seen anybody jumping up and down talking about us in the playoffs or anything. So I think we can temper expectations. The reality is that for us, we got 3 games left. We got a big game this week that's really going to be, for us, kind of a litmus test on where we're at. And we need to play well. We need to prepare well. Our coaching staff needs to prepare well. And we need to put a great product on the field Saturday that our fans can be proud of in a rivalry game. So, you're only as good as your next performance. So I don't really care about what they said last week.
Bill Pollock, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Coach. I know you talked about the players deciding things on the field, but I want to talk about play calling. And what type of an advantage does Coach Odom have in terms of knowing your offensive players? And then what kind of challenges does that present for you in game?
Haven't thought about it one bit.
Okay, thanks.
Next one comes from Kyle Pinnell. Kyle.
Yeah, Coach, last week you motivated your team with those newspaper headlines, and I'm curious now switching to Arkansas, and what are some differences when the team has that natural chip from just last year and that moment against Vanderbilt and now going to a game against Arkansas where this program hasn't lost since 2015? Is there any difference in the message or anything like that?
Each week that's the job of a coach to try to figure out ways to push buttons to motivate guys. if you're not motivated to play in a rivalry game where there's a trophy on the line, to play for the seniors who've given a lot for this football team, who have showed up every day to play at their best and lead us in tough times, then I don't know what else I can put out there on a piece of paper to get them excited. I mean, at some point you got to be motivated by the factors that are presented to you. And we got a rivalry game that has a big trophy on the line. It's really heavy that I can't even lift by myself. And, we're playing for our seniors. So that ought to be enough. That ought to be enough.
Max Baker.
Yeah, since you had a couple days to prepare for Arkansas, I guess last week, did your sort of schedule change at all this week, or your preparation schedule, since you already had those couple days?
Just allowed us to look a little bit deeper into the archives and watch more tape. Allowed me to spend a little bit more time watching their offense and trying to, just make sure I got with the defense and gave them a few, just different things that maybe my eyes caught that they didn't. So I think it just helped us, in the preparation.
Colin?
Hey, Coach. I know Jalen Knox left the game Saturday, and you said he maybe aggravated anything. I was wondering if there was an update from him there, and then also any COVID updates this week.
Jalen Knox will be questionable. We'll see what he can do today. Still early in the week. The thing about Jalen is he's tough as nails. He's as tough as they come. He wants to play. I love everything that kid does for our football team and the way he goes about his work ethic and business and competes. And I know if he's got an opportunity to play, he'll be out there for us if he gives us a chance. As far as COVID, we had a test Sunday. It's fine, but you take two more, and all the research I've done says 2 to 5 days from any type of exposure. So you're thinking this test or the next one would show any type of issues from the Thanksgiving holiday. So, we'll see. I think our guys are doing as good a job as they can, and I'll wait till about 7:30 in the morning, and then Owen will call me, and we'll deal with whatever happens.
Peter?
Yeah, what's kind of the timeline with Sean Robinson, and if he's back from injury, will he be back in the number 2 slot at quarterback?
I think that's an issue that we'll address at a later date. Anticipate he'll be back next week, but we'll address that next week. But he should be back Sunday.
Mitchell 40.
Eli, one of the things I don't think we touched on in the post-game Saturday was you all only had one penalty. I'm curious, what have you all done just to emphasize that? Obviously, that's a low number.
We talk about performing well under pressure, and really when you have few penalties, that means that's what you're doing. And it's, focus and concentration. So I don't think it's anything more than just talking about those kind of things, playing well under pressure and focus on doing your job.
Vahe?
Illegal cut block on Zeke. That's what it was. Yeah.
Eli, kind of along the lines of what Dave was asking earlier about establishing traditions, what is it about wanting to have a rivalry, cultivating a rivalry that is such a part of the fabric of college football, and why does it matter so much?
It's what makes the game fun. Whether or not your records are where they want to be, but being able to have some bragging rights over some people and that's what makes the game, the competition, the spirit of it fun. That's what college football is all about. You asked me what the biggest game I've ever coached or played in, I'm going to tell you Alma Greenwood all day long. 12,000 people. It was something serious growing up and playing and coaching in that. And that's what college football is about, and I know we have our rivalry to that other school, wherever direction that is from here, but the J somethings. And, but, they're not in the conference, and I don't know when we're going to get to play them again. But so we got to have another one. And so we just picked a team with the AR in front of it. And, we're going to try to do the best we can. It's relatively young, but I'm sure we'll figure out a way to continue to make it more and more appealing each year. And, this year doesn't lack any storylines, that's for sure.
Tom Murphy, go ahead.
Hey, Eli. Sam Pittman yesterday confirmed your 11:45 p.m. text of last Monday, and he also confirmed that he thought it was pretty funny. And he also said that he's taken a liking to you. So I'm wondering what your building relationship like with Sam Pittman.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, like I said earlier, is the perfect fit for the University of Arkansas. It's awesome that he got an opportunity to be the head coach there. Obviously, was a former high school coach in the state of Missouri and has worked his way up and is a tremendous football coach. And, when you're new into this league, kind of try to figure out, who in this league you might be able to talk to. And Coach Pittman and I have been able to share a couple of texts and whatnot throughout the year. And he seems like the type of guy who can handle a joke. And so that's what I thought I'd do since, they were taking the week off getting healthy. But it was fun, and wish him all the success in the world except Saturday at 11.
Bob Holt.
Hey, Eli, how you doing? It's
Good. Hey, Bob. Missouri Journal grad.
It's good to see you drinking your Coke instead of saving. He never drinks his Coke on the podium.
Yeah. So his may be for stage. Mine's for actual usage.
Yeah, hydration. You got a couple kids on your team from Fayetteville on both sides of the ball. I guess they were with Bannister, and I was just wondering what kind of season have those guys had, and what do you think this game means to them?
Yeah, I think we've got maybe 4 players from the state of Arkansas on our team. Obviously, Akil Byers from Fayetteville and Barrett Bannister. Barrett's kind of our Swiss Army knife, does everything in the wide receiver room, blocks, runs routes, lines up a tailback on certain packages. And I'm sure if we needed him to, he could play quarterback for us to get us out of a football game. So, we're extremely impressed with the versatility that he creates and the leadership that he provides. Akil Byers has really, really been getting better each and every week. He's had to play every position on the defensive line due to injuries, and he's been the most consistent about being able to play in every game and is really playing his best football right now, and look forward to continue seeing that. Markel Utze is from Little Rock, and I know this game means a lot to those guys, and our extra captains this week will be Markel Utze and Akil Byers representing Mizzou in that game. So, I know they're fired up, and we're sure glad that they're Missouri Tigers. We're sure glad that they chose to come here because they're an important part of our season and what our football team's trying to accomplish.
All right, gang, got time for a couple more. We'll start with Dave Matter. Dave.
Hey, Eli, just to clarify, you could have another home game with Georgia. Are you doing the senior day stuff just in case things get wacky and you lose a game?
Yep.
Okay, just make sure.
Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, Eli, what's been the biggest difference with Kiki Chisholm these past few weeks than maybe earlier in the season when he wasn't getting as many targets?
He's gotten open, and the quarterback throwing the ball.
Jack
Is there any reason he's gotten open more lately than he was in the past?
I guess that's probably a better question for the defenses that have gone against him. I mean, we're calling the same plays.
Jack?
Coach, you mentioned that Arkansas intercepts a lot of passes. That's kind of similar to what you said about Kentucky at the time. Are there any lessons you can take away from that game on how to play successfully against an opportunistic defense?
Absolutely. I think they're both very similar in their styles and defensive schemes. They like to keep the ball in front of them. They use zone turns in the defensive secondary. They play a 3-safety system with number 1 in the middle, who does an outstanding job of reading crossers and eliminating crossers. They've got 2 really good linebackers in Bumper Pool and Grant Morgan that really do a nice job of reading quarterback's eyes and being in underneath coverage. And so they take away windows really well. I don't know if we can take away – I don't know if we can utilize what we did against Kentucky against these guys, but you can definitely say, hey, you remember against Kentucky, this was a similar style of look, a cover 3 scheme, a drop 8 scheme, 30 storm scheme, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it'll be something that hopefully Connor can lean on and say, okay, I remember that. And these are some of the things that I utilized in order to be successful.
All right, last one's going to come from Greg Palermo. Greg?
Yeah, Coach, and this year, obviously, you're still playing games, even though we've got the early signing period coming up. mid-December. What has that been like as far as trying to flip a few or confirm a few or just bring it home?
All of the above. All the above. We're trying to hold on to the ones that we got. There's obviously people trying to come in and steal, or not steal, flip, spatula, the good players that we have, and we're trying to hold on. It's hard when you can't get in homes and haven't built that trust that you have. We're obviously trying to fill a few more spots in our roster that we have holes that are coming up, and so we've got a couple that we're targeting and we're really trying to finish strong on, and there may be one or two that maybe we've had a few side conversations with, and maybe the person that they're talking to the most or think that are going hasn't had the season that they've expected, and maybe there's unexpected doubts, and we throw some seeds into those doubts and see what happens. But that's the game. That's the game within the game, and it's a tiring game, but it is the game.
All right, we'll let Coach go with that one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.